Well, y'all, I killed my sourdough starter. It was inevitable. I mean, it was, I've been not taking good care of it anyway. And I tried to start another one from scratch, and it just hasn't worked for me. I don't know if it's because it's so cool down here where we're at. I have no idea. But anyway, and ordered this off of Amazon. It's Captain Sour Pants, San Francisco sourdough starter. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to see if it works. I got my jar. And I've got everything I need. So I'm going to, I have a wheat grinder here. And I grind my own wheat. So I'm going to go ahead and grind a little bit of wheat for it. And it's going to be loud, y'all. This is a loud wheat grinder. So I apologize. Got it. It was loud. Okay, so we got our wheat here. I love this wheat grinder. See, there's our wheat, our flour. I feel like it works so much better with fresh ground wheat. For that, it seems like it ferments quicker with fresh wheat. So that's what I have. And I need to read the instructions because I've never used this before. It's the first time I've ever used one of these. So I got to see what it says to do. Because I don't think it's like how you normally do it. So no, it says 2 tablespoons of flour and 2 tablespoons of water with the packet of the yeast starter. Let me get you down here so you can see what I'm doing. I got it up too high here. Can you see? I don't know. I don't know if you still can't see. I don't know. You know, I'm an amateur, y'all. I'm an amateur here. So I got my tablespoon here. So let's put, it says 2 tablespoons of flour. I'll put that in my jar. Got that. Set that aside. And then we have this. It comes in a little package like this. And wouldn't you know it, I don't have any scissors close by. Every time I put scissors, here we go, it just tears. Every time I put scissors in this kitchen, they disappear. So we got that in there. Here's the sourdough starter. I got it all in the jar here. And it says 2 tablespoons of spring water. So I got spring water. So there's 1, 2. All right, so that's it for today. That's all it says to do. That's kind of weird, but that's all it says to do. Typically, I would put all the flour in. I don't like the way it's kind of not looking good to me like this. I think it needs more water, personally. So I think I got it in there. I'm going to wipe down the sides of the jar and just set it on the counter. Tomorrow, after 12 hours, I add 1/4 of a cup of flour and 1/4 of a cup of water. And after 12 hours, I add 1/2 cup of flour and 1/2 cup of water. And then after 24 hours, I discard. So we'll see. We'll see how it works. It was like $10 for this little pack. This is what it was. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated and see how it works. Well, y'all, after I made that sourdough starter, I was walking across the kitchen floor and I slipped and I fell and my legs went up in the air. My head went back and I'm hurting. I don't think anything's broke, but the water must have spilled out of the dog's bowl. And I thought I bought Good House slippers that had the little grippy things on the bottom of it. But obviously, they don't grip in water, and I wiped out, and I'm in some pain. I don't think anything's broke, but man, that hurt. The older you get, the falls, you just don't take falls as well as you used to. So I'm going to sit here in my comfy chair today and just read and relax a little bit and just hope I don't get any sorer than I already am. But these chairs, y'all, these chairs. Let's talk. I just want to talk about these chairs for a minute. My daughter-in-law found these on Facebook Market for me last week, and they were free. I told her I wanted like a rocking swivel chair that I could rock the babies in, And so she found these, and they were, like I said, perfect because they were free. And usually, you know, when things are free, there's something wrong with them. They're dirty or something wrong. So we went to these people's house, and they had a beautiful home, y'all. And they just bought the house, and these chairs were left, and it didn't go with their decor. So they just wanted to get rid of them. And I looked them over, and they looked brand spanking new. And so, you know, we took them, and we were loading them up, and when we took the cushions off, I seen that they were Ethan Allen. So I'm like, wow, I mean, these are really, really good, well-made chairs. And we got them home, you know, I looked over them even more. Perfect. I mean, like brand new condition. And they even are, the backs are down stuffed with feathers. And they are the most comfortable chairs, y'all. I swear, so comfortable. But anyway, enough about my chairs. What I wanted to talk about today is something that, you know, I chat with my friends. We chat almost every day, and we talk about everything. We talk about what's going on in the world. We do prayer requests. We share Bible verses, just everything you can think of. But over the past few years, it's been about politics, and I am not as political as I used to be. Way back in the day, I even worked on a political campaign, but the older I get, the more I've been pulling myself out of that. I don't like politics anymore, and it's icky. It's just icky. And they say one thing, they do another. I just don't trust them at all. I don't trust either side anymore. But I will say that Trump seems like he's doing a really good job right now. And this whole peace in the Middle East thing, I mean, that's kind of weird, especially when he said the other day, you know, I'm going to make world peace and all this. It's just like, you know, I don't think the peace in Jerusalem, in Israel, sorry, right now, I don't think it's going to be lasting, and I don't think it's the tribulational type thing that everyone's saying right now. It could be, I could be wrong, but I don't think there's like real true peace over there right now. I think they're still, you know, they're on the verge of it, but I don't think it's the true peace. But anyway, back to what I was talking about, me and my friends always chatting and everything. Well, we got in a huge disagreement in the last election over Trump because they were hardcore Trump people. The church in general was hardcore Trump people. I'm not hardcore Trump. I'm happy with him. I think he's doing a good job. Definitely would not have voted for the other person, but I'm just not one of those people who are going to gush over Trump. I'm just not there. I'm not there. I'm not going to do that because I can see some of the things that he's done that I don't care for, and some of the things he said I don't care for. But I pray for him because you're supposed to pray for your leaders. But the point being is my friends, what them and I got in arguments about was they said he is a believer. And that therefore, you know, I should be very supportive of him because he is another believer. And I said to them, no, I do not believe he is a believer. And they're like, oh, you're wrong. He is. Look at all these things he says about God, and look at all these things he does and all that. I'm like, no, he's not a believer. I mean, you know, even the demons and Satan know a lot about God. And a lot of non-believers know a lot about God. That doesn't mean that you believe in God. That doesn't really mean you're a believer. It just means that you know a lot about him. You know, it doesn't mean you have a personal relationship with him. But anyway, I remember watching an interview Trump gave one time where he said, someone asked him about, you know, asking, you know, the Lord for forgiveness. And he says, no, he's never had to do that because he's never had to do he's never done anything in his life that he feels that he needs to ask for forgiveness for. He thinks that he's done everything good and perfect. You know, he always says, you know, everything's great, perfect. So he didn't feel the need to do that. And so I told my friends that. I said, that doesn't sound like someone who's a believer if they've never really had to ask for forgiveness and they've never had to repent for anything. But they're like, no, he just doesn't understand it all yet. He is a baby Christian. He is. And I'm like, you know, I don't think so. If it makes y'all feel better to think he is, then okay. I said, but as for me, I'm going to pray for his salvation because I don't think he has it yet. And that was kind of a bone of contention between me and my friends because they were like, they couldn't believe that I would say that, you know, he wasn't a believer when they truly felt, you know, deep down in their heart that he was. And then I, you know, would point out some of the people that he surrounded himself with as part of his religious team that he brought in. And I'm like, they're bad people. The Paula White, I think her name is, she's, look into her. I could do a whole video about her, but she's kind of kooky. And I'm like, that doesn't, that doesn't, to me, signify that he's a believer because he brought her in. If anything, that even raises more alarm bells. But anyway, I'm saying all this to get to a point, y'all. Just hang with me. I'm getting there. The other day on Air Force One, Trump was flying to Israel. And he gave this interview, and he said this, and I'm going to read it. I want to read his own words. I don't want to say something that he didn't say. Okay, so this is what he said on Air Force One on the way to Israel the other day, y'all. I mean, I'm being a little cute, Trump said. I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven, okay? I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly in Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven, but I've made life a lot better for a lot of people. Does that sound like someone who's a true believer? No, it doesn't. And I pray for him because I want him to have that assurance of salvation. And I know the gospel has been given to him many, many times. It's just up to him to accept that free gift. And I just don't believe he has. I haven't shared this with my friends yet. They all have social media and I don't. So I'm sure they've already seen it. And I know they're probably waiting for me to say something. And y'all, you know what? I don't know that I'm going to with them. I'm just going to let it ride, and maybe they'll figure it out someday. They're going to figure it out. But because you can't go around calling people believers when they're not. You just can't do that to make yourself feel better anyway. You just can't do that. At least I feel you can't do that. And we, say things like that, like say someone's a believer, and especially these people that are up in these type of positions like Trump are, because for non-believers to look at him when all these people are saying, oh, he's a believer, and if a non-believer looks to him, that's not a good image bearer of Christ, because Trump's not bearing the image of Christ, because he just said that he doesn't know if he's on his way to heaven. And he said previously, he doesn't have to ask for forgiveness. So, I mean, he's not, there are a lot of other things that Trump does that, will show that he's not an image bearer of Christ. But when other believers say that he is and hold him up to that standard and try to proclaim that Trump is a Christian, it hurts the Christian witness, is what I mean to say. It hurts it. And I think believers need to be careful on doing that. They just really need. I know that they're all for him and they're all excited about it and all that, but he doesn't have to be a believer. But anyway, I just wanted to share that. Nothing profound today. Made a little bit of sourdough starter and shared that, but I hope that sourdough starter even turns out. I haven't had much luck with it. I can't believe I even killed mine. So we'll see how it works. I'll show it to you if it ends up doing anything. I don't know if it will, but it might, But anyway,